G'day everyone, welcome to another episode of Wineback Wednesday, and today I'm heading over to the Hunter Valley, so just a couple of hours northwest of Sydney in New South Wales, and we're going to a winery called Château Pâto. David and Helen Patterson bought the property in 1979 and started planting the vineyard out in 1981, and they had their first vintage in 1984. And unfortunately in the early 90s David did pass away, and so his son Nick Patterson took over the reins, running the vineyard and making the wine. I first met Nick in the late 90s when I worked at Brokenwood, just around the corner, and Nick was one of the winemakers there at the time, and absolute cracker bloke, lovely bloke, and a very well respected winemaker in the Hunter Valley. His father David actually did work over in a radio station, I think in Sydney and Newcastle, and so Nick's passion for music was definitely well known. The winery at Brokenwood had this thumping stereo, and on a still night you could hear the music. You went down Broke Road around the corner to the Talawanda Hotel, or what was the Talawanda Hotel, and on a clear night, if it was loud enough, you could hear it blaring away. So if you're at the winery, you had to put earplugs in sometimes. But fun times over there. But moving on. We're tasting the 2014 Chardonnay today, and 2014 was absolute cracker vintage in Hunter. To be honest, the Hunter Valley does sometimes have its challenges. It is viewed as sort of subtropical, and sometimes during the growing season there is larger amounts of rain that you don't want. But when they get it right, which is quite frequently, and the weather is kind to them, the wines are very good. Many of you have probably tasted a lot of Shiraz from there, and also Semillon. So Semillon is probably the style of Semillon, very low alcohol, very austere, and aged very well. That sort of reflection of the weather they often get, because you've got to pick it early, because sometimes later on, if you wait too long, unfortunately some disease will set in, because Semillon bunches are quite big. A lot of berries are touching, really fleshy and juicy, so unfortunately the variety is susceptible to some disease. But overall, make some absolutely wonderful wines over there, but it does have its challenges like many regions around the world. But to go back to this wine, 2014 Château Pâto Hunter Valley Chardonnay. Pâto, obviously Patterson is their surname, and a bit of play on words, I suppose, just Château Pâto, but making some absolute cracker booze over there. Chardonnay was planted in 1990 on their property. They got 40 acres over there of land. I'm not sure exactly top of my head how much was planted out. They grow Shiraz, which is what they first planted, Chardonnay, Roussanne, Marsanne, and I think they buy in some Semillon. Obviously the Hunter Valley is very well known for Semillon. Fermented, hand-picked, basket pressed, juices fermented in 305-year, 500-litre French oak barrels. Sits on gross lees for about up to 9 months, and then pulled out, blended and bottled. So without further ado, very classical basic label, but that's all you need to know. It talks about Hunter Valley Chardonnay, the vintage, and that's all you need to know really. Let's give it a crack. So what are we coming for? 9 years old, but look at that. Absolute, look at that, sort of really pale straw. There is a green hue still through there. It's about 13.5% alcohol. I'm really quite restrained on the nose. There's a sort of straw element. There's some sort of nice stone fruits, a bit of figs. There's some definitely oak influence there, some nice creaminess, obviously sitting on that lees, and get some autolysis. But being 9 years old, really very fresh. It's a flinty note through it as well. Oyster shell. And again, on the palate there's some lovely austerity, really good acidity, good drive, really balanced. It's on the, again, it's sort of there's some creaminess through there, some cashew notes, some stone fruits, but on the same token, there is some nice austerity, as I said there. Sorry about that. The dogs decided to chase something around the back garden. Yeah, some austerity. There's some sort of flinty notes in there through the palate, some minerality, some... I have no idea what she was chasing. Probably a possum. Who knows? No, it's a bit early for a possum. Sun's out. So, probably I don't know, pigeon. Who knows? Back to the wine. Yeah. Fresh, straw-like, austere, good acidity, 9 years old, looking fresh, good long length. There are some lovely stone fruit, sort of peach notes, but some cashews. Really classy. Good job, excellent job. There's not a huge amount of Chardonnay grown up in the Hunter Valley. To be honest, a little bit of warmth on the back palate. It is 13.5% alcohol, but overall, I mean, I've just taken that straight out of the cellar, so it's cool, but not super cool. But overall, that's a very good wine, and from a great vintage in 2014 in Hunter Valley. The 2014 Château Pâto Chardonnay from Pâto in Hunter Valley. Thanks for listening. Cheers.